The waiter came back with 2 glasses of wine. She took hers. I didn't touch mine. Delicate cherry notes with a dry finish. He smiled. I nodded. Thanks. He walked away. She didn't look up from her phone. The screen's reflection lit up her cheekbones. She was scrolling with the same thumb I used to kiss when she fell asleep. Tap. Scroll. Scroll. Smile. That smile wasn't for me. Hey, I said, barely loud enough over the hum of silverware and soft jazz. Can we talk? She kept scrolling. Yeah, she muttered, like I was interrupting. I've been thinking, I started carefully. Maybe we should do a weekend away. Just us. Unplug. Reconnect. That's when she finally put her phone down. Her eyes flicked up. No softness. Just something sharp. She leaned forward slightly, placed both palms on the table, and said, very casually, Delton, you're not my type. There was no hesitation. She didn't wince. She didn't laugh it off. Just flat. Like a weather report. It hit me like a sneeze in the dark. Sudden. Disorienting. Not painful. Just unexpected and annoying and gross. I stared at her. She stared at me. She didn't blink. You're joking, I said. It came out more like a plea than a question. No, she replied, reaching for her wine. I've been thinking about it for a while. You're a good guy, but I need someone with more edge. More ambition. My hands were trembling under the table. I forced them to be still. Edge? I asked. You mean tattoos and bad decisions? I mean a man who doesn't beg for affection like a puppy, she said, swirling her wine without sipping it. There it was. The knife. But she wasn't done. Honestly, I thought I'd grow into loving you. I thought you'd grow into something else. You didn't. I swallowed hard. The room began to feel smaller. The air, thinner. Like everything was suddenly about me. Or maybe nothing was. Then she smirked. Don't be dramatic, Delton. Just finish your food, and let's be adults. I looked at her plate. Untouched. Then I reached for my wallet. Slowly. Quietly. No theatrics. I slid my card to the edge of the table. The waiter took it without a word. She raised an eyebrow. You're paying? I stood up. Yup. One last time. I left the wine. Left her. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't cause a scene. But I also didn't go home. Because home was a lie. And what she didn't know, while she was sitting there looking smug in that booth, her edgy little boyfriend had already texted me that morning, by accident. Because guess what? They booked the wrong Airbnb. And I owned it. She sat across from her type, sipping wine I paid for, in a house I owned, booked under a name neither of them bothered to Google. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 was assuming I wouldn't be there. After I left the restaurant, I didn't go to my apartment. I drove 3 hours through rain and traffic to reach the old rental house I inherited from my uncle in Ironwood Hills. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't even listed publicly anymore. But last year, I quietly put it on a private rental platform used by corporate travelers and trust fund kids who didn't want paper trails. It was empty. Until that morning, when I received a booking confirmation. The guest used a fake name, Benny Hart. But the phone number was familiar. Too familiar. It was off by 1 digit from Kendra's work number. Curious, I checked the system's auto-generated message. Looking forward to a peaceful weekend with someone special, smiley face. It didn't take long to confirm the guest wasn't some stranger. The payment? A card that used to be on our joint account. The delivery address for the welcome wine? Her office. She didn't even try to hide it. I didn't cancel the booking. I prepared the house. I placed cameras where I was legally allowed. Entryway, driveway, kitchen. Motion activated, cloud-based, time-stamped. I turned the bedroom heat off and left a small, old speaker plugged in behind the dresser. Set to play a playlist. The one she made me for our first road trip, if triggered. I parked a mile away and waited until their check-in time passed. I walked the side trail up the hill and entered through the service door. They didn't notice. The house had thick walls and a second-floor crawl space I accessed through the linen closet. I brought snacks. And gloves. I turned off my phone. And I waited. I didn't plan on revenge. Not yet. I wanted to understand. I wanted to hear it, from her own lips, what I was to her now. Just a phase she outgrew? A crutch? A charity case? They arrived late. Loud music. Her laugh, familiar but fake. The guy, Benny, had a voice like someone trying to sound like a man. Not be one. He dropped his duffel bag with a thud and said something about the place being surprisingly cozy for a dude named Delton. That's how I knew she told him everything. Or what she thought was everything. She uncorked the wine, played hostess, complained about the cold in the bedroom. He offered to warm her up. My chest burned. Not with rage, with confirmation. This wasn't a one-time slip. This was a full-blown operation. Then came the line I didn't expect. Her voice, lower, more serious. I told him last night. At dinner. He took it like a puppy who just found out the food bowl's empty. He laughed. She didn't. You think he'll come after you? He asked. Delton? Please. He probably cried in his car. That's what he does. I did cry, actually. But not in my car. I cried up there, in the attic, hearing the woman I still paid rent for mock the exact way I loved her. And then the playlist started playing from the bedroom, by itself. Track 1, Come Back Home, by Two Doors Down. She froze. He looked around. I didn't touch anything, she whispered. That was mistake number 3. They forgot whose house they were in. And I had just triggered mistake number 4. The hidden envelope. The one I left inside the bedroom drawer. The one with her name on it, and the last photo she ever expected to see. She didn't scream right away. That came later. At first, Kendra just stood still, wine glass in hand, blinking toward the hallway like her brain hadn't quite processed what was happening. I could hear her breathing from the crawl space. Her boyfriend, Benny, mumbled something about a Bluetooth speaker glitching. He walked toward the bedroom like he owned the place. Perfect. The speaker kept playing, softly, subtly, track after track. Each one meant something. Not to him. To her. I knew she recognized them. I chose every song from memories she pretended to forget. That road trip through Minnesota? Autumn Town Leaves. Her late-night breakdown in 2019 when her father had a stroke? Don't Let Me Go. Our first kiss in the car outside her parents' house. Warm hands, cold night. But the envelope, that was the detonator. I heard her footsteps pause by the dresser. The pause told me she saw it. She always hated surprises. Even birthdays made her nervous. I imagined her standing there, fingers hovering over the cream-colored paper, wondering how it got there. Then I heard the tear of paper. 10 seconds later, she gasped. Then silence. Benny must have noticed something was off, because I heard him say, "What's that?" No answer. "What is that, Kendra?" Still nothing. I knew exactly what she was holding. The photo. A printed, full-color still frame, pulled directly from the security footage I'd recovered last month, after her sudden conference trip to Tampa. In it, Kendra is sitting poolside in a floral swimsuit, straddling a man who wasn't me. Different guy. Not Benny. Definitely not a conference. I had it time-stamped, GPS located, and notarized. I printed 2 copies. She had one. My attorney had the other. She tried to lie about Tampa once. Told me the hotel double-booked the room, and she ended up staying at a friend's Airbnb. Said she left her charger there. The one I found stuffed in her car's glove box 3 weeks later. Now, no more lies. But that wasn't even the worst part. Behind the photo was the handwritten note. Just one line. Your type doesn't own this house. I do. D. Benny's voice broke the tension. What is this? Some kind of message. Is this guy here? I heard him walking back into the kitchen. He opened drawers. Slammed a cabinet. His footsteps were fast, uneven. Kendra's voice finally came. Shaking, quiet, brittle. We have to go? Now. But Benny? Benny wanted answers. You said he was weak. You said he didn't have a backbone. Wrong again, Benny. I had a plan. Because just before they arrived, I scheduled 3 texts, set to send from a second phone, still linked to Kendra's cloud. One to her boss. Thank you for the extra PTO days. Benny and I needed this. One to her mother. Can't talk now. In Ironwood with my lover Red Heart. And one to Benny's actual girlfriend. That one had the photo. With a caption. He said you'd never find out. I'm just helping. I crawled backward in the attic, quietly slipping out through the guest room vent. Let them panic. Let them pack. I wasn't running. Not anymore. I was just getting started. They made it out of the house in a hurry. Kendra didn't even take her bag. Benny slammed the front door so hard it knocked over the candle she lit earlier, the one she always used when she wanted to set a mood. I watched them through the driveway camera, both of them stumbling down the stairs like the house was haunted, and maybe to them, it was. I stayed another hour, cleaned up the attic, took the speaker, grabbed the second envelope from under the sink, the one with receipts, screenshots, and printouts of every conversation I'd archived over the past 6 months. It was all there. Her location data from girl trips, Overlapping photos posted by strangers she didn't know I followed. Even that one deleted WhatsApp backup she forgot synced to our shared iPad. I hadn't confronted her back then. I waited, quietly, like she asked me to be. Funny how the same silence she begged for turned into her worst nightmare. By morning, everything was in motion. I woke up to 3 missed calls and a voicemail from her mother. Something about damage control and people asking questions. I didn't answer. I just scrolled through the comments. Because the post, the one I scheduled, had gone live at exactly 6:45 a.m. A carousel of 3 images. The poolside photo of Kendra with her Tampa fling. A cropped frame from the security cam, timestamped with location data. A screenshot of her "not my type" text to her friend Britt, the one she accidentally sent to me during dinner. Caption: married for 6 years. Paid her loans. Loved her family. Apparently I'm not her type. Cool. I blurred faces. I covered anything personal. No profanity. No threats. No names. Just facts. It hit harder than I expected. Within 4 hours, the post had over 18,000 shares. People were stitching it into their own videos. Some were laughing. Some were angry for me. Others were dissecting every detail like it was a true crime series. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I ignored it. It buzzed again. Then a message. "This is Vera, Benny's ex. Can we talk?" And just like that, the next door opened. We spoke that night. Vera was everything Kendra wasn't. Direct, honest, furious, but level-headed. She told me Benny had cheated before, more than once. But this time, he left their dog at the vet and ghosted her to run off with a coworker's wife. Kendra wasn't even honest about her status. She told him we were separated. Showed him a fake document. Vera had proof. Dates. Screenshots. A video of Benny lying about needing space just 1 week before the Ironwood trip. We swapped notes. Then she asked if I'd be willing to work with her on something. Not revenge, she said. Just truth. That word stuck with me. Truth. Because that was the one thing no one offered me when this all started. And now, I was about to serve it up, cold, hard, and public. The call came from a blocked number at 10:08 a.m. I was in line at a greasy diner off Highway 6, holding a styrofoam cup of burnt coffee, trying to convince myself to eat something. I almost declined the call, but something told me to answer. "Mr. Delton W. Morse?" a calm voice asked. I said nothing at first. My instinct was to hang up. Instead, I just replied, "Speaking. This is Angela Croft, legal representative for Mrs. Kendra Morse. I'm calling to notify you that your recent online activity may constitute defamation and emotional distress. My client is prepared to issue a formal cease and desist if these actions continue." There it was. The panic. Not from Kendra, but from the system she ran to when her image cracked. I sipped my coffee slowly. "Angela, do you represent all cheaters? Or just the ones dumb enough to get caught in 4K? She didn't appreciate that. Her voice dropped an octave. "Sir, this isn't a joke. Kendra has a right to privacy. What you posted, what I posted was true, documented, blurred, non-threatening, and completely legal. You'll find that I never used her full name, never revealed her address, never shared explicit material, and never encouraged harassment. Unlike your client, who encouraged deception, fraud, and emotional manipulation for months, maybe years." Silence. I continued. "And if we're talking about legality, maybe I should mention that my lawyer has already reviewed the prenuptial agreement she forgot about. The one with the fidelity clause. The one she violated before Tampa." More silence. Then she shifted. "You understand we can still take civil action for reputational damage." That was rich. "Sure," I said. "But while you're drafting paperwork, maybe take a look at Exhibit C in the envelope I sent her. You'll see timestamps, text transcripts, and GPS logs. All nicely packaged for discovery. Tell your client to proceed if she wants every detail of her betrayal read into public record." The call ended a minute later. I stared at my reflection in the diner window and almost didn't recognize the guy looking back. Tired, hollow-eyed, but sharper, more awake than I'd been in years. The waiter brought my food. I picked at it. My appetite was gone again. My phone buzzed. This time, it was Vera. She sent a screenshot. Benny had gone silent on social media, deleted his Instagram, turned off comments. But not before someone, maybe an ex-client, maybe a friend, reposted a photo of him at a local bar with the caption, Wild how he was crying about his dog last week, and now he's jet-setting with someone's wife. Trash. The story was spreading. Organically. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want attention. But the truth had teeth. And now it was biting. Kendra texted me that afternoon. A single message. Can we please talk? Just the two of us. I didn't reply. Not because I was trying to be cruel, but because there was nothing she could say that would make me forget what I heard in that house. The laughter, the arrogance, the ease with which she discarded everything I built. But that night, when I returned home to my apartment, something was different. A bouquet of wilted lilies sat at my door. No card, just the kind she used to hate. I knew they were from her. Inside the apartment, there was another surprise. My landlord had slipped a notice under the door. Not an eviction, not a bill, but a request. Kendra had asked if she could be let in just to talk. He told her no, but he wanted me to know she tried. She wasn't just watching the fallout anymore. She was feeling it. But the most shocking part? She hadn't seen what was coming next. Because Vera and I weren't done. And Kendra's biggest secret? That one hadn't gone public yet. You'd think after getting caught, humiliated, publicly exposed, and legally cornered, someone like Kendra would lie low for a while. Maybe disappear for a few months. Reflect. Regret. But not her. 3 days after the lawyer's call, after the flowers, after her passive-aggressive, let's talk, message, she made another mistake. The kind you can only make when you believe you're still smarter than everyone else. She went back to the lake house. The one her friend Vanessa owned. The one Kendra claimed she only visited for girl therapy weekends. The same house I wasn't allowed to step foot in because she said it was a sacred no-husband zone. I used to respect that. I believed in space. God, I was an idiot. See, what she didn't know was that Vanessa and I had spoken. Quietly. Carefully. After everything started unraveling, Vanessa reached out, not to defend Kendra, but to apologize. I never liked what she was doing, she admitted over a call. But I didn't want to be the one to tell you. I figured you'd see it eventually. I told her I did. Just later than I should have. Vanessa told me more than I expected. About the girls' weekends that weren't just girls. About the quiet 3-night trip in June where Benny dropped by. About the name she kept hearing in whispered conversations when Kendra thought no one was around. Travis. I hadn't heard that name before, and I didn't like that I hadn't. But Vanessa did something else. Something I wasn't prepared for. She gave me access to the property's guest cam feed, the one tied to a smart doorbell and motion light system Kendra never even knew about. She told me. I deleted everything from the cloud, but I saved one file. Just in case. That file. It was dated July 19th, 11:26 p.m. It showed Kendra stepping out onto the deck of the lake house in nothing but a silk robe, laughing, tipsy, whispering to a man holding 2 glasses of wine. Not Benny. Not anyone I recognized. But as the man turned and pulled her in for a kiss, I caught a clear glimpse of his face. That was Travis. I reverse searched his face using an AI tool Vera's friend had access to, something used in corporate security circles. He was a real estate photographer. Local. Mid-30s. According to the public info, he was recently divorced. And wouldn't you know it, he had taken photos of Vanessa's house twice this year. Last time, just days before Kendra's business trip. This wasn't a fling. This was a pattern. Kendra wasn't just cheating. She was rotating lovers like seasonal decor. And each one seemed to believe they were the only one. That gave me an idea. Vera helped me draft the message. It was simple, polite, firm. Hi Travis. You don't know me, but you've been seeing my wife. I'm not reaching out to fight. I just think you should know she told Benny you were a mistake. She told me Benny was a phase. And she told you I was the past. Seems we've all been lied to. No threats. No slander. Just truth. He replied in under 5 minutes. Holy S*******. Are you serious? I didn't answer right away, but I sent him the still frame from the doorbell cam. The one where he and Kendra were on the deck. This is the night she said she was at her mother's. His typing bubbles popped up, then disappeared, then returned. She told me she was separated. She said you were controlling, that you moved out months ago. I let him sit with that for a while. Then I sent him one more message. You're not the only one. She told me I wasn't her type, while wearing the ring I bought. No response, but I didn't need one. Because that night, someone else called me. A restricted number. But the voice? Shaking. Quiet. Familiar. It was Travis's wife. The voice on the other end of the line was calm at first. A woman's voice. Measured. Almost too calm. "Is this Delton Morse?" she asked, like she was confirming an address for a package she didn't want to deliver. I said yes. She exhaled slowly, then asked, "You're still alive, right?" That caught me off guard. "Yes," I answered. "Why?" Another pause. Then she said something that physically made me sit down. "Because Kendra told Travis you died last year." I didn't respond. Couldn't. I literally forgot how to speak. She continued, almost bitterly amused. "She said she was your widow, that your family cut her off, that she'd lost everything except the house and her memories." I actually laughed. Out loud. A sharp, dry, disbelieving sound. "Wow," I muttered. "She really went full soap opera." "Yeah," the woman said, voice tightening. "And it worked. Travis isn't just some side guy." She told him they were building a new life together. She even introduced him to my daughter. Said she was going to be her stepmom. And just like that, I felt the shift. This wasn't about cheating anymore. This was manipulation. Full-blown deception. A network of lies Kendra had carefully crafted to suit whoever she was talking to. I wanted to ask how she got my number, but before I could, she answered it herself. "I found your Reddit post. The one that went viral." I recognized the blurred photo. It was taken at my aunt's lake house. I called her, confirmed the location. "I've been trying to get in touch with you for days." She paused, then added, "I didn't want to believe she was lying. But I've got screenshots now. Messages from Travis. She even gave him your wedding ring. Said it was her grandfather's." I froze. That ring had been in my drawer. In my locked drawer. Until a month ago. I thought I'd misplaced it. She stole it. Regifted it. Lied about its origin. And wore it like a souvenir while playing house with a man she told I was dead. "She's good," the woman said. "Really good." She even had me doubting myself. But now I want people to know. We spoke for almost 2 hours. I got her name, Mallory. I got the details. Timelines. Screenshots. Voice notes. She offered to send everything. And just before we hung up, she said something I'll never forget. "She didn't just cheat on you, Delton. She erased you. Pretended you never existed. That's not heartbreak. That's cruelty." And she was right. This wasn't just a betrayal of trust. It was an annihilation of identity. She had rewritten the story of our marriage to fit whatever fantasy she needed next. But what Kendra never counted on was the network forming in her wake. Mallory wasn't the first person to come forward, and she wouldn't be the last. Because within 48 hours of that call, my inbox had 5 new names. People who had been lied to, hooked, dropped, ghosted, humiliated, all by her. An ex-co-worker who got demoted because Kendra told HR he was emotionally unstable after she broke off a fling. A college friend who loaned her $3,000 for a fake surgery she never had. A local artist who painted a portrait of her and Benny for their anniversary while she was still married to me. And then someone sent me a name I didn't recognize. But it wasn't just a name. It was a court docket. Kendra had been sued. For years ago. For identity fraud. And the plaintiff? A man named Carson Linwood. Ex-fiancé. Filed in 2019. Dropped suddenly after a private settlement. It all started to click. Kendra had been building new lives for years. Breaking hearts. Making promises. And then burning it all down before anyone caught on. But now, it was all collapsing. And in the center of that collapse was one last person I hadn't spoken to. Her father. The man who once pulled me aside at Christmas and said, "Take care of her. She burns bridges faster than she builds them." The last time I saw Kendra's father, he handed me a glass of warm eggnog and a quiet warning. He was a quiet man. All gray sweaters and long pauses. The kind of guy who spoke in loaded glances more than full sentences. But that Christmas, 2 years ago, he leaned in as Kendra buzzed around the kitchen and said, "Whatever she breaks, son, don't let it be you." Back then, I thought it was a joke. Now it felt like prophecy. When I finally called him, I wasn't sure he'd answer. But he picked up after 2 rings. "Delton," he said, "been expecting you." That was all. No confusion. No anger. Just quiet resignation. Like he knew this day would come, and he wasn't proud of it. We met at a park halfway between our towns. He brought coffee. I brought the folder, everything. The photos. The text messages. The names. The copies of my prenup. The records from the lawyer. And yes, the lawsuit. He didn't look surprised. "She's been this way since her 20s, he said softly, as he flipped through the documents. always reinventing herself. New jobs, new men, new stories. We thought she'd grow out of it. He looked up at me. I hoped you'd be the one to steady her. I thought I was, I said. Turns out I was just another story she told. He nodded slowly, tapping the folder. So what now? I didn't know what to say. For months, revenge kept me going. Exposure. Truth. But now that it was all laid bare, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt released. She needs help, I finally said. And I need peace. He looked at me for a long time, then stood up and reached into his coat pocket. I thought she lost this, he said, handing me something. It was a photo, a printed one. Us, on the dock at the lake house during our first year of marriage. I was holding her hand like it was made of porcelain. She was smiling like she didn't know how to break anything yet. She used to keep this in her wallet, he said. Before the masks. I didn't take the photo. I didn't want to. It didn't belong to me anymore. I told him to give it back to her. Let her remember the life she threw away. Let her sit with it. But I walked away lighter that day. No more waiting for apologies. No more watching for messages. No more wondering if I could have saved her. She made her choice. I just finally made mine. Weeks passed. Then months. The post died down. People moved on. The videos stopped getting tagged. Kendra never contacted me again, not directly. I heard through Vera that she tried therapy. She moved in with a cousin in Colorado. She left her job. Her reputation was cracked in places no PR team could fix. And me? I didn't rebuild everything overnight. But I did get better. I started volunteering at a community outreach program on Saturdays. I reconnected with my sister in Oregon. I picked up photography again. Turns out taking pictures of things not falling apart is incredibly healing. Last week, at the local bookstore, a woman complimented my camera. Said she used to shoot portraits for weddings. I told her I used to photograph ruins. We laughed. We talked. Her name's June. And she's not my type. She's just kind. And maybe that's the type I should have been looking for all along.